Well, well. 2026, you're turning into a good year. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Movie Emporium's movie review of Nirvana the band, the show, the movie. A film that is based off Nirvana the band, the show, and is directed by Matt Johnson. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a movie to talk about. It's going to be a little bit of spoilers, so if you want to not know anything about this movie, which I recommend, watch the review after seeing the movie. Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie is based off a group of individuals named Matt Johnson and Jay McCarrol, who are from Toronto. I guess it's like a sketch thing. It's like a mockumentary, maybe in kind of the Borat style, where these two individuals are basically being filmed guerrilla style, and people are reacting to them. At least that's what I comprehend from the movie. Once again, I have not seen the show or the web series that this is based off of, but this movie basically sees, and what I gather, Matt Johnson's character is a guy who comes up with crazy, wild ideas, and Jay McCarrol goes with him on these crazy adventures. And this one, basically, they're going to skydive into the Sky Dome in Toronto, where the Blue Jays play, and are going to become famous so they can play at the Ravioli. And in the process, things do not go well. And Matt Johnson, for better or worse, creates an invention that allows these two individuals to go back to 2008, which causes hijinks and absurdity in the best possible scenario, where they're basically filming real life individuals reacting to their insanity as this movie plays out. When you see this movie, it fully explains what the premise is and what it is kind of aping off of. But for the most part, it's a time travel movie about individuals who try to fix the issues that they basically butterfly effect in a lot of respects. So I didn't know much of it. I've never heard of this web series or this TV series that it eventually became. I know people who saw this at like the Miami Gems Film Festival, as well as some other festivals, who said this was a pretty remarkable comedy and a lot of fun, very entertaining. And so I had three choices of movies to see this week as this review. One was Wuthering Heights. The other was Crime 101. And I chose the mystery movie because I knew it was going to be this movie, Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie. I had a pretty good idea that it was going to be. And I'm actually glad I did. So that leads into my honest review. I really thought this movie was pretty incredibly funny. It's very enjoyable. It's very heartfelt. And it gives me hope for individuals who create stuff that you may not have ever heard of before, but it allows you to go back and revisit the old stuff that they created, which will lead into what this movie eventually becomes. So therefore, it's a pretty fun, entertaining movie. To be fairly honest, I think Matt Johnson and Jay McCarrol play off each other very well. I do think the movie does suffer as it moves along towards the end, which you have to kind of throw credulity and like logic out the window, because once it gets to its end, it's like, okay, I guess that's sure. I mean, this whole movie is a sci-fi movie anyways, so you have to kind of throw your logic out the window to begin with. But I think the chemistry between Johnson and McCarrol, who have been friends for quite a while, the nature of this like really over-the-top absurd idea of like guerrilla filmmaking really shows that they have a good understanding of how to create illicit reaction out of people. And once again, you look at the stuff like, Borat or, Ali G, you look at all that stuff like that deals with individuals getting reactions out of people by creating interesting, weird, chaotic scenarios. And that's what this movie does. And it also has, like I said, a narrative about two individuals who are kind of the loss of their lives when they're in the middle of their lives. They're having midlife crises, which Jay McCarrol has in this movie. And you realize that you're kind of in this scenario too. This is about individuals who see things at different lights and different perspectives and have a level of regret that they want to compensate for. But adding in that sci-fi element, adding in the time travel element really makes the movie just kind of bonkers, to be fairly honest. So, because it was a mystery movie, some people did walk out of it, and I definitely understand it because it's not a movie for everyone. But that's the reason for these mystery movies is to kind of showcase sometimes movies that may not garner a huge audience, to be fairly honest, unless it's like Jurassic World for some reason. I think this movie, how it just is able to do what it does, I question some of the things that they did and how they got away with it, but I think what they were able to achieve is actually quite remarkable. And once again, I think Matt Johnson is who actually directed the Blackberry movie, which is I actually didn't realize, which was actually a really good movie. Does a nice job of setting up the set pieces that help this movie move along. And once again, Jay McCarrol, who co-writes this movie as a co-star, also helps as kind of levity point. And you see, it takes like, very standard tropes and kind of runs with it a little bit. But in the end, I really, really like this movie. To be really honest, I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's wild and crazy and weird. And, once again, they got away with some stuff I'm sure they weren't expecting to get away with, or they got a lot of because of who they are, maybe because how big they were or whatever. I don't know. They were able to get some really crazy stuff that happened in this movie. But yeah, I mean, that's Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie. Once again, it really has to be kind of experienced to understand what it's going for. And I think where it heads, once again, my major kind of qualms with this movie just has to do with the ending and kind of where it heads, because it does kind of end. And it's just like, yeah, you could have maybe touched it up here or there. But the idea that it's so kind of like put together by, a shoestring budget and kind of tape and glue and stuff like that, I think is what makes it work. And using the cameramen the way they do, I think is pretty funny. And how this movie portrays, once again, there's footage in here which I wonder if they planned to have this movie to be the way it is, because they have their younger selves in this movie, and how they integrate the older selves in this movie is actually quite impressive. So I don't know if they had planned to do this, a 17-year gap between the two. I don't know, but it's like how they interact with each other from a different era of different time. It's pretty crazy, but it's also very funny. There's some funny moments in here. There's some good, nerdy, geeky stuff. And overall, yeah, that's Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie, which will be in theaters. And if you're a huge fan of this style of filmmaking, I think you'll like it. So there you go. Anyways, with that said, that is my take on the movie. I do appreciate you watching. In the comments below, have you watched the mockumentary web series or the TV series itself? What did you think of this movie if you saw it? Was it something that fits right with them? Tell me a little bit about the TV series, all that good stuff. But otherwise, if you like what you see on this channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell, top to find what's coming next. Like this video, awesome. Hit that like button. And as always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out, guys.